Welcome back to the channel. Today we're reacting to a video on Eartha Kitt, legendary actress and musician. Help me get this video to 1,000 likes. But as always, don't forget to like, share, watch more videos, and subscribe to the channel.
From her start as a Katherine Dunham dancer to her role in numerous Broadway productions, she went on to worldwide acclaim. She has distinguished herself in film, theater, cabaret, music, and on television. She has made an indelible mark on pop culture in the role of Catwoman in the TV hit series Batman. The History Makers, the nation's largest African-American video oral history archive, is proud to present An Evening with Eartha Kitt. And now to our host, veteran PBS TV journalist, Miss Gwen Ifill.
I am so excited and so thrilled to be here tonight because of the star who you are about to meet. It is very exciting. She is a star of Broadway. She's a star of dance. She's a star of movies and of television. I mean, she was born to be Catwoman, right? She has a mean growl, and she is Eartha Kitt. Let's take a look.
Have you heard of a place called Peyton, where they have so much fun tater-tating? But to tater-tate, you have to have a mate. Don't hesitate, or you might get the gate. Say you want me with my desire. If you find the flame, I might set the fire. It's up to you. You see, I'm really shy. So sell me, sell me, sell me, and maybe this baby will behind. Maybe.
Ladies and gentlemen, my honor to present to you Miss Eartha Kitt. All right, everybody, settle down. Especially you, Missy. I couldn't do that, so don't get excited. Thank you. But I have to tell you, after watching what you just pulled walking out here, how do you do this?
Well, I think it's because I want to.
You see, but there are a lot of things I want to do. And I can't quite do it the way you can.
Well, you have to prepare yourself to do the things that you really want to do, as you know. And if you want to do that kind of thing, such as keeping yourself in shape, you know.
No.
And even though I want to tell you all that I'm 81 years old. Thank you. And I'm very happy to have shared every one of those years on the path that I have been on.
Okay, this is what 81 is supposed to look like, people. What keeps you going?
The desire to keep going. And I think that desire gives me the strength to want to go on, and therefore I try to keep myself as prepared as much as possible to be able to do that. By taking exercises, eating the right kind of food, and thinking the right kind of thoughts, and keeping negative people out of my life.
You did not come to this born to the manor. You grew up in the South. You lived...
No, I never grew up in the South.
You didn't?
No, I was born there, and they brought me, well, it's very complicated because it has made me feel inside that the complication was that I thought one person was my mother who gave me away. And she kept giving me away because she wanted to marry a man who had already 4 or 5 children. He's a black man. And he had said to her, and I heard these words through the cracks of a wall as my so-called mother was on her knees on the floor begging him to take me. And he said, no, I don't want that yellow gal in my house. She will disturb the rest of my children.
Just to be clear, yellow gal meant biracial. That was what they meant at the time.
Yes.
So
that's when she gave me away and started giving me away. Well, she was giving me away before to anybody who would accept me. This is the last time that she gave me away, and it was because he didn't want me.
Your aunt came to your rescue in New York.
Yes.
And sent for you.
That's the confusion. While I was living with her in New York, she eventually told me that she was my mother, and therefore, I don't know which one was which.
This is Aunt Mamie.
Aunt Mamie, yes. And it's not that she was mean, but she didn't know anything about taking care of children.
She was stern.
Yeah, but because I felt I was in her way. She was a very beautiful woman, and she was about just under 6 feet tall. And when she walked down the street, everybody turned around and looked at her. That's how gorgeous she was. So she was also a very desired woman. So I felt I was in the way. And I realized I had to get out of there somehow or the other because I never wanted to be in anybody's way.
So to get out of her way, you just got out of the house?
Yes, I found work wherever I could after schools and started to take care of myself as best I could.
Was this when you first got interested in theater?
And that's very funny because I don't think I ever really got interested in theater. I was always interested in trying to communicate, to have a feeling from someone to make me feel that I was worthwhile. So when my teacher, Mrs. Bishop, I will never forget her. She's a beautiful brown-skinned lady at PS 136 in Harlem. But she bought me a ticket to go to see Jose Ferrer in Cyrano de Bergerac.
Ah, nice way to start.
And Gwen, when I saw this play and saw and felt the affection that the people were giving him and the people of the cast, I had a feeling inside of myself that maybe that's how I can get people to want me.
At some point, you kind of began to focus on dance. And we want to take a look at some of your early transition with Katherine Dunham. Let's watch.
New York held much promise for the young Eartha May. At age 18, Eartha was invited to join the Katherine Dunham dance troupe. This led to a European tour with the production of Bal Negre, a tour of Mexico, and a tour of London and Paris, where a whole new world opened up. Kitt would leave Dunham to perform in the Parisian nightclub Carol's. Orson Welles would meet her only to cast her opposite him in the role as Helen of Troy in Orson Welles' Faust. Then she performed in Le Perroquet nightclub. And opening night, she ad-libbed a song that would become one of her hallmark songs, C'est bon.
C'est si bon de se dire des mots doux, de petits rien de tout, mais qui en disent en langue.
In 1951, after performing 2 weeks in Greece Uskadara, Kitt returned to New York only to have a disappointing opening night at the nightclub La Vie en Rose. That opening would lead to a stint at the Village Gate, where Leonard
There are such demands for me, a man of distinction to switch brands for me. Macy's and Gimbels shook hands for me. Monotonous, monotonous.
You know, I watch you watching yourself, and I wonder, do you recognize yourself in those old pictures?
I don't know who she is.
Whoever she was, she had great arms. Let's talk about the Katherine Dunham experience. That was very different than what you thought it was going to be, and it was coincidental how you happened to get into the Katherine Dunham dance troupe.
Yes, my girlfriend at 115th Street and Madison Avenue, Joyce, she dared me to go down to have an audition for Katherine Dunham because I had seen Lena Horne and Katherine Dunham, and I think they were both in Stormy Weather.
Right.
And they were the same color I am on the screen anyway.
Yeah.
So I felt an affinity for them. You know, maybe something like that could be me too. Mm-hmm. And that's why she dared me to go down to have the audition. And I did. I joined the class and I did all of my movements like the teacher was doing, and the drums were going kung 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 param param pam pam pam. So I did it.
Oh.
Let me know in the comments, were you fortunate enough to see her live?
Yeah. That's exactly what I would do.
Yeah. And I won a full scholarship.
It worked.
And that's how I really got into show business.
How did you get along with her?
With Miss Dunham? Well, I don't want to say anything negative about her, but I will. I'm very, 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 very happy that she made a company like hers, because it was, that we know of, the first time an Afro-American ballet company. Not that we were all ballet dancing, although we were taking classes from Martha Graham and also a very strong Russian ballet teacher. We had to learn from the start ballet routines. But it went on that photographers and people were coming in to take pictures, because we were always on Sundays having backers audition, and there were lines and lines of people in a row, and I was always chosen to do these wonderful dance movements in front of all these people. So the photographers got very interested in my legs.
I can't imagine why.
So because they were picking me out all the time to take these pictures, Miss Dunham, she was not very nice with me. But she might have been like that with other people, but I didn't notice. And one day she said to me, "Kitty, you will never be anything because you've got too much excess baggage."
Baggage?
Which meant that I had long hair.
Which is a bad thing.
Yeah, for her it was a bad thing.
Tell me in the comments, do you think that was a way of motivating her, or was she intentionally trying to put Eartha Kitt down?
Because it was too attractive for her, so she made me feel very small.
So you had to part ways, but along the way, think of the people who you ran with during this time. Carmen Lavalade, Ethel Waters. You were contemporaries.
Oh, I have to tell you about Ethel Waters.
Please.
She had a boyfriend, and his name was Archie Savage. And he was a tap dancer.
Yeah.
And she always wanted him to be in whatever she was doing. So, if you saw Cabin in the Sky, you could see him doing this tap dancing.
He was. Oh.
Now, here we were, as hula dancers or whatever it were we were doing on the stage, and we had all this sand on the stage, and all of a sudden Ethel Waters wanted Arthur Savage to come out and do his tap dancing on the stage on the sand. So he was slipping all over the place on his but he got there. Now, before he got it, in order to get him to do that, she went to the producer. And she used every 4-letter word in the book.
Really?
Now, you would never think that Ethel Waters would be like that. Well, darling, she was. As wonderful as entertainer she was, she didn't know how to use a sailor's tongue. And she would then cuss everybody out and get those chugga dancers off my stage. And she would take her little Bible and go into the wings, and she would read the Bible in her way that was washing out her mouth.
You stayed friends for life.
You know, I don't know how short a time it was before she died, but she knew that I always grow my own food, and one of the foods is collard greens. And her manager told her that. So she wanted to come to my house in Beverly Hills and for me to cook her these collard greens, which were growing in my garden, which you would come out and see the collard greens, and I would take them into the house and wash them, and I would cook them for her and put it on the table with all the finery that you all have allowed me to live like this now, with my good silver and my good whatever. And I would put the collard greens on the table and serve her like you would serve. She wanted to eat out of the pot.
Well, she was
Which was a wonderful thing for me.
Yeah.
Because it was so spiritual. And until this day, I know I'm by myself, I'm eating out of the pot.
Me too.
Because it's so spiritual. I love that.
Now, so there was that part of your life, eating out of the pot. And then there's Europe and Paris. And you got to meet Josephine Baker, didn't you?
That was the first thing we did when we got to Paris with the Catherine Dunham Company. We went right to see Josephine Baker, and she was absolutely wonderful. And through the years, we remained friends, and I was helping her along with people like Grace Kelly and Marlene Dietrich. We were all helping her with the children.
How much of an impact did Europe make on your life? Off and on over the years, you spent a lot of time there.
Well, I think Europe probably made me realize that I should learn how to read more, get more acquainted with people who have something to say, have conversations, which is what we did in Paris. We used to go to the Café de Flore, Le Deux Magots, these outdoor restaurants that didn't cost very much money. And we would, maybe 10 of us, like James Baldwin, John Paul Sartre, and people like that, Breco, so forth and so on, we would have a table and we'd all sit around and eat out of one bowl, and it was choucroute garnier, sauerkraut and fatback. which to me,
Yum.
when you, that's true, and it's very true. When you don't have any money, honey, go for the fatback.
Even in Paris.
Right, even in Paris, because fatback makes you feel full, and it's very nourishing. I wouldn't eat it so much today, but I do go do it once in a while, yes.
Did Europe also just broaden your thinking about the world?
Oh, yes. This was in 1950-something, I think, end of 1950-something. And at that time, you could have one ticket to go around the world. And you can stop in all of the main cities around the world and get back on the same place up to 2 weeks or so and so. So I did that because I had about 2 months before I had to come back to America to do a play. And so I did. And traveling around the world like that all by myself, when you have to learn, you have to be curious, and you have to find your way in and out of circumstances so that you don't get into trouble. And of course, I did get into trouble because...
Well, I bet you did.
Well, when I was doing this film with Sidney Poitier and we were in Nigeria, he was the one that dared me to go up that hill to visit a group of people who followed the bats, the Odo tribe. Well, in my curiosity, naturally, if you tell me not to do something, I'm going to go.
Of course.
So I went in the middle of the afternoon. I got a photographer who was always around. And I had also been in the papers because every day, since I didn't have anything to do in Africa, I would do my exercises every day. And every day I'd get up in the morning because I love the sunrise. So I was in my very, 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 very tiny bikini, riding a bicycle.
Okay.
So eventually, I don't know why, but I would see people hanging from the trees, watching me go up and down the roads and the pathways.
Why would they do
And
such
I
a
would
thing?
go through the marketplaces, saying hello to the people and so on and so on, in my bikini. Well, some few days, or I don't know how many days later, the headlines in the newspaper says, Eartha Kitt is disturbing the natives.
And I think you were.
So when Sidney Poitier dared me to go up that side of the mountain, I did. and saw the Odo tribe and see the bats because they would hang to the trees. You know, that's what I wanted to see.
Yeah.
But these bats that were all so beautifully hanging to these trees, and they looked like fists on top of one another, like that.
Yeah.
So, now how do I prove to Sidney Poitier that this is what I did? So I went to the chief of the tribe with the bodyguards with their, what do they call those guns on the backs?
Yeah.
The handmade guns.
Oh.
And they...
Were you wearing a bikini?
I wasn't wearing a
just
bikini
checking.
this time. So he said, I told him what I would like to do, and when I went to his cabin, he was playing Eartha Kitt records, so he knew who I was. So we went to the shrine, what they call the shrine. It's 3 trees that are dug out in the center, and that's where the bats would hang out, you know, and hang on all of these branches. So, but I wanted to see them fly away. So you have to shoot off this ground gun, is what they call it.
Yeah.
A ground gun. And inside of this ground gun are these bullets that when you shoot them, they spread out. And it kills, these remnants from the bullets would kill anything that it would hit. So naturally, I got a bat. So now,
What did you do?
I went back to the catering rest house where we were staying. And I had the houseboy who was taking care of me in my cabin. Not in that way.
I'm just listening.
I had him
yes.
get me some, because it was Christmas time.
Yes.
So I had him get me some Christmas paper. And I had this bat who was like, he was hanging out like this with his arms and his paws up like that. His arms are out like that. And so I wrapped this bat 1 page at a time with a little bow, 10 times, 1 page at a time, big bow, and I took it back to the catering rest house at dinner time. And I called Sidney Poitier and the crew into the bar where we always had our meetings. And I said, oh, I didn't know what to get you for Christmas. So I went out and I found something all by myself. And he was going, oh. So then I have him open up the package.
What did he do?
And he was opening up. He was getting more furious by the second. And when he saw the, and he leapt out of the window. He didn't talk to me for some time.
Really?
Right.
But you've made up since.
Oh, yes, we've made up
Okay,
since.
just checking. So now here's another thing that happened to you when you were abroad. Aunt Mamie, who we talked about earlier, she died. You came home
Yes.
for the funeral. And there was this collision of worlds. There was the new Eartha
Yes.
and the old Eartha May.
When she died, I came to New York, took her body down south where she wanted to be buried. And I was all dressed up in my Parisian gown, not gowns, but you know, like looking like Vogue with my hair all coiffured, well done, and also all dressed up.
Yeah.
And I was sitting in first class.
Yeah.
Now, this was about 1950. And this gentleman comes through and he says, you can't sit here. So what are you going to do? You ignore him.
So you just kept sitting there.
I just kept sitting there, and he still ignored me. And every time he came through, I pretended I didn't hear a thing. And when I got to the other side, getting out of first class. Now, if I'd had a photographer with me, you see, I could have made a big story. But I don't think about those things. What is wrong, and you correct the wrong at the moment that it happens, if you possibly can, without any furor, without your fist in the air,
Yeah.
without hatred, because that's conditioning. And you have
Except
to
that
understand that.
it must have been shocking after having spent time in an environment where this did not happen, to come back to the United States and to be reminded how far we had not come.
Yes, but now I think about how far we have come. And that, to me, is very, very, very important. And I'm very glad to have been a part of it.
I want to go back to your experience with Orson Welles and the production of Faust. We saw some pictures of that. It seems like pretty non-traditional casting to cast you as Helen of Troy at that time, opposite him.
Yes, but Orson was one of those kind of people. And I didn't think anything of it. I just thought he wanted me as Helen of Troy. And when he said, Helen, make me immortal with a kiss, he took me in his arms, and the audience is there. And as I'm leaning in his arms, and he says, Helen, make me immortal with a kiss, he kisses me and crunch right into my bottom lip.
Is it just me, or does it seem like her movements seem a little angelic? Tell me your thoughts in the comments.
Oh, you'd be surprised at the things I read about myself. It's hysterical.
Like what?
Funny. Well, like having an affair with Orson Welles, for instance.
You see, I was going to ask about that, but now I'm thinking maybe not.
And one of the papers said that when I opened in the nightclub there, that's where he saw me. It said, the most exciting thing that's happened to Paris in 25 years, which was little Eartha Kitt.
And you pretty much agree. You did not exactly disagree, I'm thinking. Somewhere along the way, you were spotted in much the same way that you were spotted by him in this nightclub for New Faces of 1952.
Yeah.
What was that?
Well, I think in Paris was where Leonard Sillman saw me. And when he started doing his production of New Faces of 52, I had returned to America for La Vie en Rose, which I was not very successful because they said I was singing in too many different languages, and what is it, and you know, what does he think she's doing? And they were not accustomed to us being so different. You know, I guess they expected me to be singing the blues and jazz, the gospel. So I played 1 week there, and they just canceled my contract. And after a while, I was not working. Nobody was asking me to work, and I wanted to go back to Paris because I knew I could work there. I went to William Morris, who had brought me back to America, to ask them to lend me $25 until they find some work for me. Who do you say you are? How do you spell your name?
Really?
That really hurts.
That must have hurt.
That really hurts. So I left the office and I'm walking up Broadway, so ashamed. And I felt someone following me. And in my shameness, I didn't want to show my face. And I had 5 cents left to take a train up to 128th Street, where I was living at the time. And he said things like, I don't want you to feel about opening night in La Vie en Rose. He said, I was there, and you're a wonderful artist. Don't lose faith. Or some words to that extent. And as he walked away, he turned back and said, oh, by the way, my name is Jose Ferrer. And that was the first artist I had ever seen on a legitimate stage.
Wow.
And that gave me courage. And then right after that, Max Gordon asked me to come down to the Village Vanguard and start all over again.
It was at Vanguard where Leonard Sillman saw you,
Yes,
right?
yes.
Let's take a look. New Faces of 1952.
Kitt's success with New Faces of 1952 led to a 5-year recording contract with RCA, and she became the hottest female recording artist of the 1950s.
Santa baby, just slip a sable under the tree for me. Been an awful good girl, Santa baby, and hurry down the chimney tonight. Santa honey, a 54 convertible to light blue. I'll wait up for you, dear Santa baby, and hurry down the chimney tonight.
Continuing to perform on stage, Kitt began to make movies,
Danny, meet Noah. Blanche, meet Danny. Danny, meet Anna.
including St. Louis Blues with Nat King Cole and Mark of the Hawk with Sidney Poitier. Kitt finds herself in a love relationship with Arthur Lowe of Lowe's Theater and becomes close friends with actor James Dean. And by 1960, she is presented with her own star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. That same year, she marries Bill McDonald. That marriage would last 5 years, but that union would produce her beloved daughter, Kitt. Movie and TV roles would follow.
Sorry to have caused you so much trouble. Don't get killed on the way out.
But nothing like her role of Catwoman in the TV series Batman.
Next move is to purloin and, if possible, permanently purge Batman and Robin.
It would be this role of Catwoman that would redefine Eartha Kitt and introduce her to a whole new audience.
Now, I have to make it an admission that Catwoman for me is the moment, of course, and Santa Baby, not necessarily in that order. Your career took off at this point. You exploded. Did you prefer? I mean, you were nominated for a Tony Award for Mrs. Patterson, right?
Yes,
1954. Did you prefer stage, screen, television? Which?
I prefer live performing. I've always said that the audience has always been my best director, and you still are. So thank you.
Miss Kitt, we have to talk about your love life.
Gwen, you've been knowing me for 1,000 years and you still call me Miss Kitt. It's time you call me Eartha.
Okay. Eartha, we still have to talk about your love life. Tell us, who was the love of your life?
The first one that really I wanted to have as a father to my child was Arthur Lowe Jr. And his mother said she would, well, she threatened to shoot him in his foot or something if he married a brown-skinned woman. I learned that far afterwards. So that was not possible. And I was going with Charlie Rebson. At the time, he was having his $64,000 question. And he's another one that I would have loved to have as Kit's father. But he got into trouble with his $64,000 question, and you know, that relationship, he was afraid that his stockholders would pull out if they knew about me, so that was the end of that relationship. But those were two people that I really would have loved to have Kit as their father.
And at some point, you finally did meet Kit's father.
Yes, well, he was there.
Damn, that's, man, the way she said that. List the names in the comments that you thought she was going to name.
Okay.
And in many ways, I'm very glad I married him, because even though it didn't turn out the way I would love for it to have turned out, I got the best of the deal, because look what came about, my wonderful, beautiful child.
Who is here tonight?
Who's here tonight, and she's now...
Kit Shapiro. Motherhood made a big difference, didn't it?
Oh, yes. Because I felt now I had something more to strive for. And whatever difficulties I got in at the time, my child came first.
You know, you lived, it's clear to hear you tell the tale that you lived in kind of parallel worlds in some ways. Black world, white world. Did the two ever mix?
And I think so. Because I don't go through life, and never have, as a person who belongs to a race, as we call a race of color, race of yellow or brown or whatever the color you are. I'm a person of the race of human beings.
But at the time that you said that in an interview once, you got into some trouble in the black community. They said, what is she talking about?
Oh, yes. Because she says, how come she doesn't recognize herself as a black person? And I feel as long as I carry myself as a black person, I'm separating myself from the rest of the world. And therefore, that means that I want you to treat me differently. And I don't want to be treated differently than you would treat someone who deserves whatever kindness they are endowed or should have.
You were, as much as you say you're not a race woman in the way that people define that, you were an ardent supporter of Martin Luther King.
Oh, yes. Because he spoke the right kind of messages. He brought us together without hatred. And his speeches were absolutely inspiring. And even though he said, I have a dream, I've always said, okay, dreaming is wonderful, but it's up to me to do something about that dream. I cannot sit and wait for the government to come and give me a handout, which was my case when I was a kid in New York. You can see me sometimes in a photograph with my relief dress on, but in that relief dress and my one pair of shoes for the whatever, how long they lasted, when I went to school, the kids realized that I was poor. Mm-hmm. But when they put us all in uniforms, that situation was eradicated. And therefore, I think everybody in school should wear the same uniform, and all this prejudice situation, to some extent, and hatred would be eradicated. Because politicians particularly seems to make us feel that you're different from me and I'm different from you. When we're all one and the same blood, why should we be treated differently? What we need is a foundational good education. Why is it that they're constantly saying better education, better schools, better, and ever since I was a kid, they're saying the same thing. We haven't gotten better schools, and we haven't gotten a better education.
You know, as you know, I spend most of my life talking to people about these issues, and no one is ever as honest as you seem to be about this. No wonder you got in trouble at the White House.
And I'll continue to be in trouble if you're asking me a question.
Well, good. But tell me about what happened at the White House, though. That there are different versions of what happened with you. You upset the president's wife.
Because she asked me a question. And the question was, why is there so much juvenile delinquency in the streets of America? Because of Vietnam. That's what the boys were telling me. They came to my dressing rooms, whether it was in a hotel room or in my dressing room in the theater, wherever it was, wherever I was. And we would sit on the floor with a glass of champagne, of course. And they would tell me what their feelings were, because I would ask them questions. And so they said, it's not that we're running away from America because we don't like America. We happen to love our country. But we don't want to be involved in Vietnam because we think it's a dishonorable war. So when I was given the floor, and first of all, I said, I think we've missed out on something here today. I thought the question was about what the question was about on my invitation. The invitation said, why is there so much juvenile delinquency in the streets of America, from Mrs. Johnson, who was having a luncheon for those of us who they felt have done something for the community. And they were talking about how we should put trees in the, what do you call that?
Median strip.
Yeah, on 7th Avenue.
Yeah.
I said the first thing that people would do is burn those trees down to make fire, because what they want are jobs. If you want to beautify America, then beautify people by giving them jobs before you beautify America with seeds.
Let me know in the comments, do you side with Lady Bird Johnson, or now that you heard Eartha's side, do you side with Eartha?
They didn't react particularly well to that suggestion at the White House, did they? In the end, President Johnson had a role in this. He wasn't happy with what you said. He blacklisted you. He made it difficult
No, I wasn't
for you
blacklisted.
to get work. What happened?
I was whitelisted.
You were. Okay. I like that. We're going to go with that. So you were whitelisted, being banished, as it were, from your ability to live your livelihood, sets you up eventually, after a while, for one of your many great comebacks. Let's take a look.
Invited to the White House for Lady Bird's 50-woman luncheon, Kitt spoke out against the Vietnam War and its injustices. Her doing so caused Eartha to be blacklisted, forcing her to leave the United States for 6 years. After her 6-year exile, Kitt...
Only one Eartha Kitt. Now, it should be said, you have now, I think, appealed to about 8 generations of people who know you for different things. Boomerang is a completely different thing. You even did disco at one point, I believe.
Yes.
You got hit
And my
with
first
disco.
gold record, but my only gold record, was with a song called I Don't Wanna Be Alone, Where Is My Baby?
That was your only goal?
My only gold.
That's shocking.
I know.
But I guess the point is you managed to reinvent yourself periodically whenever the need arose.
Because when I needed work, I went where
You went where the work was.
They do say necessity is the mother of invention. And I really believe in that. And it's not that I went off my own path, but I would try something once in a while and find that either it worked or it didn't work. And I've always found my way back on my own path because that's where I'm most comfortable.
Your speaking voice is so recognizable that you did a lot of voice work.
Yes, and it's amazing that at the age of 80-something, I got nominated for having the best voice in animated daytime television.
This is what Jeffrey Holder said about you. He was interviewed for History Makers, and he said, "There's nobody like Eartha Kitt. She's a brilliant performer. She's someone who comes from an old, wonderful school of theater and from a world where they know their craft inside out. They're pros. They did it the hard way, and their pure talent and their pure genius will cut you like a knife because they are all originals."
Oh.
Isn't that nice?
Yeah.
But very nice. But isn't it also true?
It's like what Charlie Revson told me. He said, do you know, because he would come to my house and ask me to, he would say to me, you know, Eartha, I'm doing this television show, that the one was a penthouse that he would get stars to be the star of the night. And he said, you know, I cannot find enough artists to be able to hold an audience in the palm of their hand for an hour. And he said, the ones that I find, he said, 6 out of 10 are black. Mm-hmm. And I said, what's wrong with that? He said, well, I can't do that. And I said, Charlie, you are the dictator of maquillage, makeup in this country. You are a big businessman. You're very smart. You are a leader. Why can't you do that? I said, I know you can't use me because everybody knows about us, but you can use a very handsome guy like Harry Belafonte or Lena Horne, which he did. Mm-hmm. He opened his seasons with Harry Belafonte.
But I sometimes wonder if people weren't actually more willing to accept people like you and Harry Belafonte and Sidney Poitier and Lena Horne than we gave them credit for. I was watching some old clips of Ed Sullivan with you on the Ed Sullivan Show back in the 60s. Boy, he was into you. I'm telling you. I could see it in his eyes.
Well, I was on his show a bit more often than the other artists.
Yeah. Okay, so I won't press you on that one, even though I have my own suspicions.
No, well, but you know, with Ed Sullivan, it was also very interesting times, too. And I adored Ed Sullivan, even though he had no idea how to speak the English language. But he told me that he was, when I was on his shows and I wore a gown, he would get letters from people who said she's too sexy.
Huh.
So he started to put me in, you know, the toreador pants that I introduced to the United States. But he didn't have a very large Jewish audience. And I happen to have a very large Hebrew repertoire. So one day I came on his show and RCA Victor wanted me to plug one of my new songs that they were going to release it in a minute now. The man sent me home because he wanted me to sing a Hebrew song because he wanted me to gather a Jewish audience for him. So I did. And I came back and then, Be'eravot HaNegev, Mitnotzet Hatal. And Sullivan was able to get a Jewish audience.
Through you. What an interesting way to get a Jewish audience. You are unique. There is nobody I can point to on the scene who has replicated what you have replicated. What message can you leave for those young performers who want to be you or aspire to be you?
If you're looking for immediate rewards, you're only looking for the money.
Yeah.
And money can be very valuable. There's not much sense to it. And I think that if you want to really be true to yourself, then do that which you know you can do best and stick with it. Don't follow the herd.
Well, I don't think you've ever done that, follow the herd, and for that we are immensely grateful, Eartha Kitt. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, here's the part, I don't know about you, but that I've been waiting for, a real treat. 3 of Eartha Kitt's biggest hits, which she will perform for you live tonight.
Now?
Now, with the help of Daryl Waters on piano and the Evergreen Trio. All yours.
No one to walk with, all by myself. No one to talk with, but I'm beyond the surf. Ain't misbehaving, I'm saving my love for you. I know for certain, the one I love, I'm through with flirting. It's just you I'm thinking of. Ain't misbehaving, I'm saving my love for you. Like Jack Horner in the corner, don't go nowhere. What do I care? Your kisses are worth waiting for. Believe me, I don't stay out late, don't care to go. I'm home about 8, just me and my radio. Ain't misbehaving, I'm saving my love for you. Corner, don't go nowhere. What do I care? Your kisses are worth waiting for. Believe me, I don't stay out late, don't care to go. I'm home about 8, just me and my radio. Ain't misbehaving, I'm saving my love for you. Ain't misbehaving, I'm saving my love for you. I have so much fun with myself. Now, this is one of the songs that Gwen was talking about my experiences in Paris when I was just starting out. And when Miss Dunham dared me to leave the company, I took the dare and started on my own. And there I was, standing on the side of the stage at the ABC Theater, watching them put a very tiny young lady together. She was so small, I thought she would never be able to stand on her own 2 feet. But when the curtain went up and she took a hold of the microphone, she pour la vie, et dès que je l'aperçois, alors je sens en moi mon qui bat. No complaint and no regrets. I still believe in chasing dreams and placing bets. But I have learned that all you give is all you get. So give it all you've got. I've had my share and drank my fill, and here's to you.
See, this is why I love reacting to Eartha Kitt interviews, because I always learn something new. Tell me something in the comments that you learned that was new from this interview. Tell me the resemblance between your life and her life. And as always, don't forget to like, share, watch more videos, and subscribe to the channel.